sure to check out Agelessgeeks for your figures and collectibles. So what is going on, my fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? Daredevil19 here, and today in this video I will be going over my favorite, or what I think were some of the best figures Mafex did release in 2018, and these are only the figures that I got and reviewed or either have in my collection. I can't say some other figures that I didn't own, like maybe Gwenpool or something like that. Like I didn't pick up all their figures, like the Dark Knight Scarecrow, I didn't get that one either, or their 3.0 Dark Knight Batman, which I feel like would be on this list if I did own it. So I can only go over the figures that I got that I either own or have reviewed. And starting it off with some honorable mentions right here, we'll start on the left with the Mafex Justice League Tactical Suit Batman. Definitely one of the best figures that they did release this year. I did have a small QC issue with the right leg always popping off, which is a bit irritating, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the cape, but I was happy that they did put bendy wire in the cape this time. For some reason they didn't put it on their Justice League Batman, but put it on their Tactical Suit Batman. Even though this is not the original cape, this is the Batman capes that my girlfriend does make, that has more bendy wire in it and is a much larger and better cape overall. But it's a great figure. If you did not get it, you don't know which Tactical Suit Batman to get, I would recommend this one. I didn't get the Mafex one, so I can't tell you which one's better, but from the looks of it, if you want more articulation, I'd go with that one. If you want better detail, I guess, maybe go with Mafex. I can't let you know, I don't own the figure, though. And then another honorable mention is the Dark Knight Harvey Dent Two-Face, and this figure I liked a lot more than I thought I would. Yeah, it's just a character in a suit, but Mafex did a fantastic job with it. You do have an interchangeable jacket piece and left arm, because you can have him as just Harvey Dent, or you could swap it out with these pieces and make him Two-Face, which I believe most people do have him displayed like that, whoever does own the figure. He is included with some pretty good accessories and a decent amount, and you always get a stand with a Mafex figure. That is always a huge plus, and for him being in a suit, you get some pretty good articulation, and the detail, like usual with Mafex, outstanding, especially on his face there. Look at that. That looks so awesome. So those are the two honorable mentions, and I want to give their RoboCop an honorable mention too. That was an awesome figure. I don't own it anymore, so that's why he's not in here with them. So let's get into this list and start off with number 5. And coming in at number 5 is the Mafex Justice League Superman, and this figure definitely deserves to be on any Mafex top whatever 2018 list, because if you compare this one to Mafex's Batman vs Superman, it is a huge improvement compared to that figure. That figure was a hot, steaming pile of trash. It was a horrible, horrible figure. My God. It was, when that released, it was on my top 10 worst or most disappointing figures of that year list. This one here, they turned it around big time. Yeah, the face sculpts aren't perfect, but they're still pretty good, and I do have an issue with the left toe joint being very loose, so it constantly pops up when you have the figure standing or something. But really, other than that, they knocked it out of the park with this Superman. The detail was handled really well on this. I love the way the suit looks. The texture all throughout the suit looks awesome. Very clean paintwork. Like I said, the faces could have been a little bit better, but they're okay for what we got with the figure. We do have a wired cloth cape, which is also a huge plus. You get some very nice articulation with the Superman. Probably some of the best Superman articulation I've seen on a Superman figure from any Superman figure that I've owned. And then finally, the accessories. They did add another face, so you do get a total of 3 of them, and you just get some alternate hands and of course a stand, which is lacking a bit with Superman. They could have included something else, like some sort of effect, like the laser eyes. They could have gave you maybe some eyes with peg holes in his eyes instead of having his eyes, and gave you 2 laser beams, so you just peg him into his eyes. I don't know why they couldn't do something like that, or maybe bullets popping off him like what Mezco did or something like that, but that's the reason why he's not higher on the list, because the accessories leave a bit to be desired. But overall, fantastic Henry Cavill Superman figure. So that is my number 5. Now moving on to number 4. And coming in at number 4 is Mafex's The Dark Knight Rises, or Dark Knight Trilogy Bane. And I know a lot of people, including myself, have been wanting a high quality or import the Dark Knight Rises Bane figure, and nobody made it. And I was hoping Figure Arts would, but I don't know how their Bane really would have turned out. But I am so happy that Mafex did give us this Bane very early in 2018. I think he released in February of last year, which was very early on in the year. But I was so happy when they announced it, and even happier when I got the figure in hand. They could have done a couple things a little bit better, but overall it is a great figure. And if you're a fan of Tom Hardy's Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, this is definitely a must-have for you. The detail, out of this world amazing, which Mafex usually kicks ass when it comes to detail. The one thing they could have done a little bit better with this is maybe made like the chest a little bit wider. That was a lot of people's complaint, but if you don't like the way that looks, he's also included with some interchangeable arms with sleeves and his coat, so you don't have to have him with the sleeveless vest look. You could have him wearing his coat as well. And since we're talking about accessories, he is included with a bunch of awesome accessories. Really like what Mafex included with this Bane. And then finally, the articulation, really great on this figure. He does have some fantastic articulation. You can get him in some pretty damn good poses, and not just Bane poses. You can get him in some awesome poses. So they give you plenty of display and posing options with this figure, and that's why I feel like this was one of their best of 2018, but it was one of my favorites of the year from Mafex. So that's number 4. Now coming in at number 3. And coming in at number 3 is Mafex's The Dark Knight Trilogy, or The Dark Knight Heath Ledger Joker 2.0 version. And Mafex, compared to their first release of this Joker, stepped it up once again big time, especially with the face sculpts, and especially with this one here. Now, the arms and the face on the Joker right now, you do have to get the cop version of the Joker, because that's some added accessories they included with that figure to go with the 2.0 Joker. And if you get both those figures, you're going to have the best Heath Ledger Joker figure. Mafex really did a beautiful job with the 2.0 version here. The articulation, very well done. If you have him wearing his trench coat, it is going to hinder a decent amount of his articulation. But if you get these added accessories, you don't have to worry about that, because you get some excellent movement without the coat hindering that articulation. The detail, fantastic throughout the entire figure. Even the face sculpts that came with the 2.0 Joker, not this one, they did an awesome job getting Ledger's Joker likeness down with it. And then finally, the accessories, I don't think they could have given you any more stuff, or I don't know what else they could have gave you with this Joker. They gave you pretty much everything that you can include with a Heath Ledger Joker. And I feel like this was one of their best releases of 2018. Even though I didn't own all their figures that released last year, I could just tell by pictures and stuff this Joker was one of their best of 2018, and that's why he is on my top 10 favorite Mafex figures of 2018, coming in at number 3. Now moving on to number 2. And coming in at number 2 is Mafex's Justice League regular suit Batman. And this figure they did such a great job with, and just like with the Justice League Superman, compared this Batman to their Batman vs Superman Batman. That figure was pretty damn good actually, but there was a few issues with it, and this one takes a huge doo-doo over that one. Mafex once again stepped it up big time with their Justice League Batman here. The biggest issue with this figure is they just gave him a cloth cape with no bendy wire, and I was like, what the heck? You know, because Mafex always puts bendy wire on their caped figures, so that one left me baffled. That was my biggest issue with this figure. But other than that, excellent articulation all throughout this Batman. You get pretty much every accessory you can include with a Justice League or Ben Affleck Batman. And then finally, the detail was handled very well. It does look like Ben Affleck under the cowl. They did like update the sculpt and everything, so it looked much better compared to the Batman vs Superman Batman. This, to me, is one of the best Ben Affleck Batman figures that is out there. Some people will agree, some people will disagree, but I feel like this definitely is, and definitely what was one of Mafex's best figures that released in 2018, and it was also one of my favorites that released from Mafex in 2018. That's why he came in at number 2. And now for number 1. And coming in at number 1 is Mafex's Justice League version, Aquaman. And I feel like this was one of their best figures they released in 2018. I know some people disagree, some people will agree, but I think this is the best 6-inch scale Jason Momoa Aquaman figure that is around as right now, and their classic orange and green suit Aquaman even looks better than this one here. The face sculpts do look like Momoa, the angry teeth gritted face, not as much as the basic face here, but you definitely can see Momoa in the face sculpt there, especially the profile look. So it does look like the actor, and the detail just handled beautifully throughout the entire figure. His suit looks incredible from the paint and sculpt. The articulation, awesome with this figure. And the accessories were really good. They could have included maybe another alternate face or something like that, but really other than that, I don't know what else you could include with an Aquaman figure. I'm not the biggest Aquaman fan, so I'm not sure. I did just see the movie, but this is based off the Justice League movie. The only issue I had with this figure is the right bicep does pop off, and I don't think that's with every Mafex Aquaman figure. It might just be with mine or maybe a couple other people's, so I'm not really going to fault them for that, for putting him lower on the list. I do feel like this was one of their best figures they released in 2018, and it was definitely my favorite figure by Mafex that released this past year. But anyway, that is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what your top 5 favorite Mafex figures were of 2018. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell. And if you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, oh well, I guess you didn't like it. But thanks for watching. I will see you later.